Welcome to Encounter Life. This is Pastor Kurt Ritchie, your host for today's episode. We have so much for which to be excited today. We continue to get settled into our new studio, and we also are engaged in planning for bringing video to the party here at Encounter Life. We are still weeks away, but it is coming. Pray with us during this time of growing the podcast. It is an awkward but exciting time, and we truly are looking forward to what is to come. Today, we have a special guest, Pastor Marii Cruz, with us in the studio. Pastor Marii currently serves as the youth and young adult pastor at Encounter Church. She leads and inspires this exciting group with solid and relevant biblical teaching, as well as providing for ministry and fellowship opportunities for the youth of Sumter County. Marii has an amazing life story, which we're going to hear about during this episode. So thanks for spending some time with us. Grab a cup of coffee, or if you are like Pastor Marii, grab a can of Bloom or Alani. I don't know what any of that is, but I think it's energy drinks. And come encounter life with us. Pastor Marii, welcome to Encounter Life. I am so happy to have you with us today to discuss ministry to youth and young adults.
Pastor Ritchie, thank you for having me on today. I am excited to be here to just share with the people what God has done in my life.
I have been looking forward to sitting with you for a few minutes and hearing about youth ministry. I must admit that a lot has probably changed since Joni and I were working as youth camp counselors in North Webster, Indiana, 50 years ago. You faced challenges that we could not have imagined back then, but much has stayed the same. The hunger that young people have for truth that is meaningful and relevant, for help in relationships, how to navigate the challenges of future decisions and career choices. These core questions and challenges are common to every generation. I'm really looking forward to hearing from you about all of this and more. However, before we get to that, I would like for our Encounter Life listeners to get to know you a little bit better. Tell us a little bit about your story before ministry. Tell us about a younger Marii Cruz.
Man, I can say a lot, but I grew up in a broken home with my father not being present. I was raised in Miami. I came from an addiction. My parents was addicted. I came from places that not many would like to be in. I am 6 out of 11 children, and just drug addiction was rampant in my home. It was something that I seen all my life, and it just left me in a broken place. But drug addiction happened, and sexual abuse also began to happen in the home, and it led me to a place where it became dark, and my life led to foster care for 6 years. And I was from place to place, from Miami to Leesburg, Florida. That's how I came to Wildwood. And it's just been devastating of coming from that broken home life.
I want to hold there for a minute. When you talk about family, you talk about mom and dad not being there and addiction. I am curious, was it just in your immediate home, or did that extend to extended family? Was it broader than just your home?
Oh yeah, it was way broader than that. My mom did it. My dad did it. That's all I knew about my dad. My mom had her first kid at 11 years old, and we're all almost a year apart. So it's 11 of us, but my dad also got her into that, and it was my whole family, my uncles, my aunts, cousins, sisters, brothers, siblings. It just continued to go.
Tell us, and you talk about Miami. Tell us about your Puerto Rican heritage. That's a big deal with you, and I'm going to let our listeners know. Pastor Marii, I enjoy it when she cooks because she has that Puerto Rican food. She has it down. Tell us about your Puerto Rican background.
Oh yeah, people know Puerto Ricans by eating and cooking for sure.
Yeah.
But I love to eat and I love music, and I'm proud to be a Puerto Rican. That's what I can say. I'm proud to be a Puerto Rican.
I'm proud for you. I'm excited for you. Do you have, and now this one was not in our show notes, but I'm going to ask anyway. Do you have that Puerto Rican rhythm? And
One thing about me, I could dance. I love to dance. I love music, and take me out and I'm ready to dance. Let's go.
Joni and I had a vacation years ago in San Juan, and it was just the two of us. We were celebrating an anniversary, and we was heading out on a cruise the following day. And we were down in Santurce, I think is how you pronounce it, in old San Juan at night on a Friday night, and dancing on cobblestone streets. We thought we were in a movie, and it was so much fun for her and I to be salsa dancing with the locals, and it was amazing fun.
I love salsa, but back in my days before I encountered Christ, if anybody knew me, they called me La Bachatera. I was very into
which is
bachata.
Okay, there you go.
So I had all the moves, and if you didn't know how to dance, please get out of my way and give me somebody else that knows how to dance.
We're going to have to figure out how to get a sample of that. That's incredible. Tell us now about what I would call the shift. At what point did you begin to think, hey, something's going on? There's something happening in my life. I need to make a difference, not only in my own life, but perhaps in others. Tell us about that shift and when and how that happened.
Man, just thinking about that, I would have never thought I would be in this position. I keep on saying to many people that ask me, like, how did you become in this position? I really tell myself I stumbled into this position. I did not.
You danced into it?
I danced into it. I didn't think I would ever be where I'm at today. Like I said, I feel like I stumbled in that. Yeah. I didn't think I was qualified for the position because everything that I've been through. And it was just hard for me to see that someone can see destiny in someone so broken.
Yeah, I echo that. And I see it in my own life time and time again in others, that most frequently people that are called by God into ministry look at their lives and think, how in the world could God possibly take this and use me? And I've told people over the years, I just said, yes, Lord, if you got a spot, I'll do it. Thanks for the invitation to the party, and I'm ready.
But so many people don't want to say yes because they don't feel qualified.
Yeah.
They feel like they're lost. They feel like they've gone too far to be reached. And
are you an example of somebody who is evidence that you can't go too far?
I am an example.
Yeah.
Nobody can ever go too far. God's hand is not too short that he can't reach people.
There it is. But now at some point, and we've just kind of segued into it, deciding to serve in pastoral ministry is not an easy thing. There can be a lot of obstacles that must be overcome. And I'm curious if you could, let's think about the challenges that you had to overcome. What maybe are in the top 3?
Man, I feel like coming into ministry, before ministry, I was always in a battle. All my life, I felt like I've been in a battle. And coming into ministry, I'm in the battlefield. And it never gets easy. But I believe that the 3 major things being in ministry is expectation and critics of people, because I'm still human. Just because I have a pastor name or role in my life doesn't mean that I'm not human and I don't fall short. But also carrying the weight of the call.
Yeah,
it's painful. You deal with people in the church that will also wound you. And it's our responsibility to lead others. And sometimes that's hard because at this moment, you're also leading yourself. but God is calling us to lead people. And in the midst of that, you got to make sure your family is protected, because that is my first ministry, is my family. And I think the little bit of time that I have been in full-time ministry, 6 years, I have seen my family already get wounded in the process of bringing people to Jesus.
Yeah, it's so hard to leave my family alone. Do whatever you want with me, but leave my family alone.
And I feel like it gets intense because you are reaching other people, and the enemy knows that you're fighting, but thinking that your kids and your family is not
right
equipped.
Yeah.
So
the for Joni and I, and for me personally, one of my biggest and the final hurdle I had to overcome, our family, and I'm not going to, in this public space, I'm not going to go into a lot of details, but our family has had a ongoing, decade-long medical circumstance that we have to face and deal with. And for the longest time, before I finally said, yes, I'll go, I wrestled with, how can I lay hands upon the sick and pray for them to recover when I have in my own home a chronic, unresolved illness that is lifelong? And how can I do that? And I won't go through the process in this episode of how I dealt with that, but that was a huge hurdle for me. I'm good now, but I got past it. But that was a big one.
Every day we have to sacrifice our families.
And we got to go by faith. We got to do it because we're called to do it, regardless of the objections and the challenges. Yes. I'm going to get up every day and I'm going to pursue the calling.
But I love the fact that every time I wake up and I do what I do, I always remember what God would say. If you take care of the least of me, I take care of what matters to you. And every day I wake up and I say, God, I'm taking care of what matters to you. So please protect my children.
Yeah. You, when you first started in ministry, you were a single mom, yes?
Yes.
Talk to me about that. How do you explain to your kids, and your kids were older, how do you look at them and say, well, mom's going to be a pastor? How do you do that?
Oh, yeah. So I have two beautiful children, Damaris and Marii Cruz. I have two girls, but it was challenging. I questioned myself every day and said, could I even do this? I looked at myself and said, I'm able to do it with God's strength, but it was challenging to look at my kids every day and say, hey, mom is a pastor now. Now the roles are changing and things are going to look different, because I came from owning my own business to having all the time in the world for them to come into ministry, and now time is limited. And it was a challenging journey, but I trusted God in the process because I knew the call was on my life.
Did you watch God transform their hearts to a place of agreement and support?
Absolutely. I have seen my kids agree with what God was doing, and just like it just molded into a puzzle where they also did ministry with me.
There's something that you and I will understand, and our listeners may not unless they've been involved in ministry, but we call those kids PKs, pastor kids. Yeah. And they are a very unique group of kids. And growing up as a PK will forever, ever alter their lives. And folks that are listening, pray for the PKs out there.
Yeah, I have seen that. I have seen PK kids suffer the most. And because I'm so young in ministry and being the leader, where I didn't grow up in the church. So now coming into the church and taking this role, I seen the heartache that PKs are dealing with. And I told myself and I told my children, I would never allow you to suffer because of my choices, but I'm going to make you be you and let God do the rest, because I don't want you guys to take on the weight that I took on. Right. And I want you to just be your own self. I don't want you to change for nobody, and just be who God is calling you to be. Yep. Don't fake it.
It's hard. And then love happened. I want you, if you will, to tell us about love happening. You met a guy.
I still laugh about that to today. I
Well,
can't believe it's
let
been a
us laugh
year.
with you. What is it?
I can't believe. So it's been a year. My husband came. Well, it was just crazy how it all happened. But I was serving in ministry, and he came in, and I didn't even notice him. And
Stop it.
I did not notice him. He was not my type. It was something that I wasn't looking for. I actually, before that, I was on a journey of do not disturb on my heart. So I wasn't looking at anybody, and everybody
Do
that
not
looked at
disturb.
me, I just turned the other way. I said, do not disturb me, because I am on a mission. So he came in, and he was sitting behind me for 7 months, and I didn't even notice. I had the privilege to baptize him, and I didn't know that was my husband. And we went through a prayer and fasting for 7 days, and God spoke to me so clearly, and I had many confirmations. And I was like, that can be it. God, I never even gave him the time and day. And I wrestled with God about it, but God saw fit for the puzzle. He knew what I needed, and he's been a great asset to my life.
This is so much fun for me. I wish our audience could see the two of you together, because you are like a perfect set. It's fascinating.
I am still, I'm half hood and half holy, and he is very gentle, and he knows how to handle me, because I can be a little too much.
The Puerto Rican, huh?
I could be a little too much.
A little too Puerto Rican. Well, I've got to dig there a little bit. And who asked who?
He asked
Who
me,
made the move?
Can I be transparent with you, Pastor Richie?
Please.
Like, he made the move. And I remember this like it was yesterday. He came to me after 7 months. First of all, he went to my pastor and asked for me. And my pastor ate him alive and said, what are you here for? You ain't going to date my spiritual daughter. But before that, he came to me one day. I was walking out of the tent, and he said, can I talk to you for a second? And I said, okay. And he says, I would like to take you out for lunch and get to know you. And I knew then, I was like, oh, this guy trying to get at me. And he wasn't my type. And I looked at him and I said, you are ugly. I don't like you.
Stop.
I did. And instantly I walked away, and I was like, who's this guy just trying to come at me? And instantly when I walked away, the Holy Spirit checked me and said, don't call dirty what I call clean.
Wow.
And I said, wow, God, what are you doing? And I walked away and I got convicted. And I said, God, I'm sorry. And he says, you think you all that in a bag of chips? You're not. And I said, I apologize. And I instantly wrote him on Facebook, because he was on my Facebook. And I said, I am so sorry for being disrespectful. And I will take you up on that. I go out on a lunch date with you. And I had to change my perspective, because that's not how God was doing something in the midst of that. And God had to humble me.
I wish this is the moment when I wish we had cameras. You are so cute right now. I mean that in the
God
most
has to humble
respectful way.
me.
That's amazing. And so now you and Aaron are together. What a wonderful couple you are. And it's so much fun to watch you grow in the Lord together. Are there any specific challenges you think exist for a married couple when one or both are engaged in pastoral ministry? And a secondary follow-up to that, how do you navigate your time in such a way as to not only allow for, but to protect your personal time specifically with your husband?
Yes, I mean, I just been married a year, so I'm trying to navigate all that and have a balance with ministry and marriage and children. But it's less time with my family sometimes. And I notice being married so early in marriage, I have less time with him, because we're growing as a church. Mm-hmm. We're here. I'm doing youth ministry, young adults. Sometimes I do women's conferences, and I just find myself busy, and I see that we don't have the time like other couples do.
Okay, I'm gonna push, and if you wave me off, if you say, Pastor, let's move on to the next question. You can say that because this one, but I want to push that a little. How do you and Aaron, in a way that would be helpful to other couples, and especially ministry couples, young ministry couples, or newly married ministry couples, is there a specific idea that you would say Aaron and I do this. This is our way of getting alone and just loving on each other.
Finally finding that quality time for sure. In the middle of busyness is getting out, going on walks, making sure maybe getting date nights, maybe once a week or something. Try to keep that going, because it is important to make sure your marriage is first as well. But it's just making time for each other, being open with one another, constantly speaking into each other's lives, and just being there for each other, and just being honest. I think in this generation we don't have that honesty, and just being honest with each other. Hey,
no agendas.
Nope, I'm lacking this. Maybe you're not really spending a lot of time with me, and just tell each other how you feel, and make sure you make that happen for them.
For decades, Joni and I had a routine every Wednesday. We had other things, but every Wednesday we had a lunch date at a local Chinese buffet. Every Wednesday you would find us there. And that was it became that discipline that wasn't, we didn't set out intending to make it this life discipline, but we always knew we were going to have that little bit of time at the Chinese buffet just to relax and look each other in the eye and just hang out together.
Making it a point to make them be seen. You have to make a point.
You have to. And in ministry, it is incredibly important to do that so that we can be healthy to serve others. Let's talk about the scope of ministry. Let's shift. The scope of your ministry here at EC, the work that you do across a very wide range of ages. You minister to everything from 6th grade all the way to 30-year-olds. That's crazy. That's nuts. The needs and the maturity levels are a million miles apart. How do you do that?
My prayer every day is that God give me language for this generation. I've been sitting on that word and language, because everybody looks different. Everybody comes from different backgrounds and lifestyles, but it's the language to give to the people, and dealing with a different age group from 6 to 30 years old. 6th grade is a step. You have to explain it different to everybody. Yeah. And I noticed that the message stays the same, but we have to explain it different to where they can understand. And dealing with middle school, it's simple. It's language. It's simple language to them where they can understand. And then going into teenage, it's the real life application to them where they can understand it a little more. And then you're coming into adulthood, and that becomes even deeper. That becomes real and just challenging for them. But it's just that I hold on to that language piece. You got to give them language where they can understand and relate in this time.
Yeah. Well done. One of the things that I think is to your advantage is you, and I won't dig into this, but you were a mom very young.
Yes.
And now you have how old are your girls?
My daughter is 18, almost 19, and I have an 11-year-old.
And so you are an experienced mom that is now pastoring brand new moms in the young adults. How rich is that? I mean, that's cool that God would take you and equip you to speak to how many young moms have we got now?
It's definitely a blessing. Like, I had a teenage pregnancy at 16 years old, and that's when I had my first child, and it was rough. But looking at her now, when she was 16 for a long time, I struggled because I said, what was I doing at that age when I can see her innocence as a young woman? It was hard for me to say, did I even teach her the right things that she needs? So coming into this young adults and youth ministry, it's encouraging for me. It's a blessing, but I can see the innocence of kids, but I can also see that the world is teaching them so much. Yeah. And we have to have language for these young moms that feel hopeless and feel like they're just too young and they can't make it out, and still say there's still hope out there for them. And to know that no matter how far you go, you can still make it if you just keep trusting on yourself and what God is doing.
Yeah. What have been some of your greatest rewards in ministry? And if you want to just list top one or two, what have been some of the greatest rewards?
Watching young people experience and encounter God and their lives being changed. Man, I see identity in young people, and I see them turning away from destruction and discovering their purpose and what God is doing in them, and just planting seed for the next generation, because it's not only for one generation, it's for more generations to come. And I just love to see young people walk in their fullness of what God is calling them to do.
I will tease you a little bit with this, but wait until you are 70 years old, and we are experiencing this, where we see those that we remember as teenagers, and now they are living such fantastic lives for the Lord, and we're still connected with them, and how things have changed. And I had one young man, he came to me, we were at a party a few years back, and he came to me, and I won't tell you all the circumstances. Well, yeah, I will. He was a young man that we had encouraged young guys to learn how to dance. I used to tell the guys, you want to find a pretty girl, you need to learn how to dance.
That is the truth.
And he came to me at a wedding banquet, and because he was not I'm not doing that. He just was not going to. And he came to me, and very seriously at the party, he said, I wish I had listened to you about dancing. He said, you're right. And those sort of paybacks, you go, I told you, man. But you'll have those moments when you're 70 years old looking back at those lives. If there's a story of one young person, just one, and you don't have to name them, it probably would maybe best not to, but one person whose life was truly changed by an encounter with Jesus through your ministry.
Yes, there's specifically one young lady that my life has changed also because of what I seen God do in her life. When God brought her to my life, she was young, but she was bound. And she was bound with demonic spirits. Mm-hmm. And I was just getting in the field of ministry, and they said, oh, there's demonic in this too. And I was like, oh, I know the stuff in the world, but I didn't know the depths of demonic spirits, the spiritual battles of that. And God brought this young lady into my life, and I watched her be in bondage, and I seen her battling with this demon, and it was horrible. It was terrifying. And she wanted to get free. Mm-hmm. And it was my first time being in deliverance ministry. And Pastor Derek told me I need to go ahead and do this. And I was like, I'm not ready for this. I'm not equipped for dealing with devils. Right. And it was my first encounter with a spirit with that. Yeah. And what I seen, and seeing her so possessed by a demonic stronghold, it did something in me, but I also seen what God delivered her from. Yeah. And it took 3 days, but it was powerful. And now to this day, I have one more year with her, and she'll be a senior. But I watch her, and she's powerful. I watch her on stage leading worship. I watch her leading youth ministry and worship. And the power that comes off of her in worship is amazing, because only you can know that God set her free. Yeah. No other thing did. And the way she worships Jesus because of what he did for her, it's incredible for me. It's just, I don't even have words for it, because the power of God, what he can do if you just release it and say, God, I want to be free.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you see going forward? Some of the hopes and dreams you have for ministry. What do you see ahead?
I see this generation standing for truth. I see this generation going to be standing boldness. And what I want to see in this generation now is, I want to see modern day Deborahs. I want to see modern day Esthers.
Wow, listen to
and
that.
Davids and Samuels, because what God is doing now is totally different than probably what he was doing in your time, Pastor Richie. But God is still the same is just changing. And I believe that there's an awakening in this generation. I believe that God is doing something powerful. What people would say that's not going to work, where people say this generation is dead, I believe is called and is alive. And God is just going to raise up Deborahs and Esthers. And I believe that this is going to be a lasting spiritual legacy.
Good, good. I believe that with you. People often see the visible parts of ministry, the services, the events, the teachings, but behind every ministry, there are real people with real burdens. If you could put together a top 3 list, prayer list, what would that look like? And it doesn't have to be related specifically to your ministry. It most certainly may very well include something pertaining to your family. But if our listeners wanted to pray for Pastor Marii Cruz, what would be a quick 3 things or 2 that you would say? Please pray for this.
I would say, please pray for wisdom and discernment in these times. I will also say for strength and endurance, because the times are challenging and it's hard. But I go back to that language. God, give me language for this generation. I pray for that every day, and just protect my family as I'm out in the battlefield.
Perfect. Well done. Well said. I could ask at this point in our ministry, I could put that as the top 2 in my, please pray that God would give me wisdom in this chapter of my ministry, and God protect my family.
Yeah.
Protect my family. As we prepare to kind of wrap this up, have you got any closing thoughts or comments for our listeners? A final word of encouragement?
Yes, I would like to tell this generation and anyone who is listening that God is not finished with this generation. He's not finished with you. He is just he wants to restore hearts. He's redeeming stories, and he's calling people from broken places into purpose. Your past doesn't disqualify you. I am a living witness and an example that God took a broken young lady and came from trauma and addiction, and he called me into the ministry. Only God can turn trauma to triumph. And it's in those very places is where God begins to do restoration. And I just want you to know that no matter what you're going through, you're not too far gone.
Amen.
God's hand is not too short where he can't reach you.
I agree.
It don't matter where you come from. But if you're wanting to find hope, there's still hope out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much. What a great way to kind of finish this conversation. Thanks, Marii, for being here today. It's been a lot of fun. And I told you it's going to need those tissues, and you did.
Yeah.
And I hope you come back and visit our audience again sometime soon. And who knows? As I was putting this together, this may just be the spark for a new podcast, the Marii Cruz Show. That would be fabulous. I would love that. Under the Encounter Studios banner, there's open space for that lane. I would definitely be one of your biggest promoters. Thanks again, Marii, for hanging out with us.
Thank you, Pastor Richie, for having me.
Thanks, friends, for listening today. I trust you have thoroughly enjoyed the conversation that we've had with Pastor Marii. I know I have. We are so excited here at Encounter Church for the many ministries that are available to those of every age and demographic. We want to take this moment to invite you to visit sometime soon. If you are traveling to Florida in the coming months, please stop in on a Sunday morning and say hello. We're located just a few miles off of I-75, about an hour north of Orlando. Come and discover what we truly mean when we say one encounter with Jesus can change everything.